In the name of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you, everyone. I'd like you for a moment to go back to the gospel that we heard outside with the Liturgy of the Palms of Jesus coming into Jerusalem. The question is asked at the end of that gospel reading, who is this? Who is this man called Jesus? What is going on? Jerusalem is completely in turmoil, and people are trying to figure out just who Jesus is and who God might be. During our Lenten evening series, we used a program called Speaking Our Faith. And through it, we discussed with each other and did little homework assignments that helped us to put our faith into words and helped us to really kind of crystallize what it is that we believed. And the final homework assignment for the last session was, who is God for you? And writing out a statement sort of based on the Apostles' Creed or on the baptismal statement where we said, who is God? And then what does that mean for me in my life? So this question that they were asking in Jerusalem on that morning when Jesus came to town, we're still asking it. We're still trying to work through and struggle through who God is for us in our world, in our lives right now, trying to define God. The atheists who are writing now, one of them, Sam Harris, I listen to a lot on podcasts, but they're also trying to define God. It's interesting, in order to disprove God, they have to define God first. And what I think they don't really understand is that the God that they define is not the God that 87% of the people in the United States say they believe in. It's a very different God. And the truth is that only God can truthfully define God. Because as soon as we think we've figured it out, we've probably gotten it wrong, which leads to a lot of confusion, right? Confusion that we see here from the Gospel of Matthew, because we see all of the different responses that those people had to Jesus coming into town, all of the different reactions to Jesus. And this, I believe, is one of the reasons why it didn't end well for him that week, because he didn't fulfill people's expectations. He didn't fit the description of what we saw people were calling out. Even the disciples, at the end of being with him in his ministry and teaching and healing, even the disciples didn't really understand who he was. Was he a keeper of divine mysteries? Was he a powerful military commander? Was he a powerful king? They're all in turmoil. And we see the different shouts within the gospel. Hosanna, people putting down their cloaks, waving their palms as if a king was coming into town. Then we have people calling out, blessings be on the one who comes in the name of the Lord, which was a psalm from King David's time. People calling out, Son of David. David, the first great king. All trying to define Jesus in their way of who they wanted him to be. But if we look at what they were seeing with their eyes and what we see from this point of view, we see a man on a donkey. We see someone in very simple clothing. We see or hear no royal proclamation, no great prophecy. He did not fit those descriptions that they were all trying very hard to put onto him. And so they're stirred up and they're confused. The city was on edge. And Matthew confuses us too, because we think we know God. But which is it? Is it divine, all-powerful, righteous, judgment, decisive, can do anything? Well, if that's true, then why do things happen the way they happen? And when God does show up, it's as a gentle, humble rabbi on the back of a donkey. Doesn't fit those descriptions, does it? Preaching more love than power, talking not about force and coercion, but of love that draws to him. He reaches out to those who thought they knew what they needed to know about God. And he reaches out to all those of us who also think that we know what we need to know about God. So for the rest of this Holy Week, as we walk with Jesus, I'd like you to listen to him. He's going to be rejected. He's going to weep. He's going to break bread with his friends. He's going to be betrayed. He's going to forgive. And through all of this, we ask, can this really be God? How can we make sense of him? I found the Karl Barth quote that I generally paraphrase. What Karl Barth said was, God is God, not in the midst of some transcendence, not on the basis of our own human opinion, thought, or speculation, not in the form of an image projected by humans, but in Jesus Christ. We worship Jesus as the Word incarnate, which means that what he says and what he does matters. So as we walk behind Jesus this week, let's watch, let's see what we can learn from him about the truth of God. Amen. Amen.